In this video, I hope to show you guys how to effectively browse the internet. Now, you may be a brand new beginner who's just learned the ins and outs of right-clicking and left-clicking and using a keyboard and mouse, or you may be a more advanced user to some extent. You know how to browse the internet. You obviously found this video here on YouTube. You may want to know, though, some more specific details as to the whys and the hows of browsing the internet. And that's what I'm going to go into on this video. So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, what we have here on the screen is the internet browser. What is an internet browser? Well, an internet browser is developed by a company, and thus there are multiple internet browsers out there. This one in particular that I have opened is Google Chrome. Now, that can be confusing to some people because on Google Chrome I can access the Google website. Those are different things to be separated. For instance, another one is Internet Explorer that's created by Microsoft. You might have heard of Safari, which is created by Apple. These are all different internet browsers. You can think of them like just like you can open up an internet website on an iPad. You can also open one up on a PC computer or on your phone. All these different devices are developed by different manufacturers, but they all lead to the same place when you're browsing the internet. It's the same thing with internet browsers. It's software designed by different companies. So let's, for instance, open up Internet Explorer, and we can go to Google's website on Internet Explorer. Now, I'm not on Google Chrome, but this is just to show you the separation between the two. The company makes Google Chrome, but they also make the Google search engine, which I'm bringing up here in the Internet Explorer browser. I won't go too deep down that rabbit hole, but just so you know, there are multiple ones out there. If you're just looking for what's a good one to use, I would highly recommend Google Chrome. So with these features that I'm going to go over to, they're mostly an all internet browsing piece of software. So this is going to be generic across the board. On the very top, let's start there, where we see New Tab. What is this all about? Well, back years ago, there were no tabs, and so you could open up one internet browser and go to one website. Let's say you wanted to look up some news, and you pulled up a news website, but then you wanted to open up another internet browser. Well, you'd have to open up another browser here on your computer that starts kind of becoming cluttered, especially if you have like 10 of these open. It gets hard to keep track of. So they later decided, hey, the way people are using internet browsers, they're opening up quite a few pages. Let's just make a tab system to make it easier. So now you can open up as many tabs as you need. They do take up resources on your computer, which does slow it down slightly, but nothing to be too concerned about. If you've got open 10 of these, you're going to be okay on most computers. You can also close them out with the X up here at the top. That will close that tab. So that's what the tab system is. Now, as I go through some of these features, I want to go over some basic principles here too that will help you in all sorts of ways when dealing with a computer. And that is, when I hover my mouse over something that I don't know what it is, it normally will tell me a description that pops down, just like it did there where it says New Tab. So don't be afraid if you don't know what something is. Try messing around, hover over different things. As I hover over this area here, it says Main Menu. Let's see, if I hover over here at the top right, customize and control Google Chrome. So this is little hints and help features that will help you to know what something is if you ever get stuck. Please don't be afraid to try to stop and read and learn something yourself when it comes to computers. A lot of people, they get a little too frozen in place worrying about that they might hurt something. I'm here to tell you there's much more harm in not doing anything than actually going in and trying some things yourselves. So that's what the tab system is for up here at the top. Then below that, we have the address bar. Now the address bar is everywhere that I can type within this bar here. This is to be differentiated from the search bar. Now, this can be confusing as well. I'm going to go again to google.com here. Search bar is down here in the middle of the page. Now, due to the changes in the way people use internet, they have combined somewhat the address bar with the search bar. So I can up here type in the website address, for instance. Let's say I bank at Bank of America. So I could type in bankofamerica.com. Okay, that's the website address. When I type that in, the website comes up. Or I can type in, if I don't know the address, but I know the name, Bank of America. Notice I didn't put the .com, I put spaces in there. That's important because that changed it to a search now. So now it didn't bring up Bank of America's website, it did a search for Bank of America. Now it's still useful for sure. As we can see here, I got results here for bankofamerica.com, which is what I was looking for. So then I can click on that and look at there, I go to the exact same web page. So it's important to understand the difference between a search and a website address. A website address will bring you directly there. A search will bring up results that will then take you to those direct addresses. For instance, let's go back to Bank of America search, and there will no doubt be other things in this list, such as this is the Twitter page for Bank of America. If we come down here, we have another page talking about Bank of America, Wikipedia for Bank of America. These are all different websites that involve that search word that we use there, Bank of America. So that's what the address bar is. The address bar is always the topmost bar on your web browser. And as you can see, they can get quite long and convoluted, and that's why things have evolved to try to simplify what you see up here. All this /search $Q equals big. That's not what you want to have to be typing in. So the search feature is very, very useful. Also, we have in most browsers, you'll have some sort of a favorites or bookmark system. Now that's important to understand how that works as well. Just below this address bar on Google Chrome, we have all of these different bookmarks that I have here. And what that is things that you want to remember, websites you want to remember, you can bookmark and it'll have it saved for you. Now there's on Google Chrome multiple different ways to look at these bookmarks. You can come up here to the top right where these three dots are and pull down to the bookmarks menu. This will let you see all of your bookmarks, or in my case, I've got them saved to my bookmarks bar and I have my show bookmarks bar check marked there. And so it puts them right here up on top to where I don't have to go into a menu to access them. Very useful thing to have there. Some companies use bars, some companies use menus like we have here. Most of them use both. So just so you know, that is there. If you have a website you go to all the time and you don't want to have to remember the web address, that is what you want to use. So again, let's do Bank of America here. Let's say I found the website I needed to go to and I want to be banking here. I would come up here in this browser and click on this little star. And notice if I didn't know this was here, I could have figured it out by hovering my mouse over where it says bookmark this tab. So I'm going to click that. It gives me a suggested name for it. Now sometimes this is the way you want it, but I would almost always recommend changing that name to something that makes sense to you. Sometimes it'll be something completely wacky that you don't want in there. So I'm just going to put Bank of America, since I don't need all that extra stuff in there. And I have folders set up here, but you can just basically put it in directly on your bookmarks bar, or you can create a folder system. I won't get into that too much right now, but I'm going to hit the done button. And now you can notice on the far right here, I have Bank of America. So if I get off into, I'm looking up news again, and I forget, oh, I want to go back to Bank of America. I just click up there, brings me straight to that website. So that's what the bookmarks feature is for in Internet Explorer. They call it favorites, I believe. Whatever floats your boat. The point is the same. It's a way to save websites that you commonly use. So that brings us to the next part here, and that's these little three dots. You'll see this commonly in a lot of things nowadays, and these three dots is kind of it's essentially a settings or a menu system that's meant to look more appeasing to the eye. Instead of having a word here to define that this is like the file menu, like what we used to have, you have these three dots. It's just a little more clean look, and it gives you a lot of different things that you can use to modify the window that you're looking in. Honestly, there's not a lot in here that you're going to need to mess around with unless you're just interested in all the different features that you could possibly get out of this. But basic web browsing, not necessary. Let's go to the left of the address bar here, and we have a few buttons here. We have the back button, the forward button, and the reload this page, aka the refresh button. And you can find out what these are again just by hovering over them. Click to go back, hold to see history. This is you probably have, these are probably self-explanatory from what I'm showing you here, but let's just kind of test some stuff out here. So I'm going to pull up a news article here. Let's go to Fox News, sure. And if we wanted to go back now to that Google search, I hit the back button, and I can go back. I can go all the way back to the very beginning of when we started doing this. You see I was going back and forth to different things. You could also go forward. Self-explanatory again. And then refresh. Maybe you've had this website open for a while and you want to know if something has changed, because they can change it while you're on the website. It doesn't happen often. Don't be worried about, are they changing things while I'm in the middle of working on the website? No. It's more if you've got something that is supposed to update maybe on a certain schedule and you just wanted to see, maybe you're looking at the weather, for instance. You've got the weather channel going on here in my town, Santa Maria. We got this weather here. Maybe I had this up today and I wanted to see, did anything change? So I hit the refresh button and it reloads that page and it'll show me anything that's changed. So it's useful to have there. Now, as you're using the internet, you may wonder, is the internet something that I can trust? And will it be something secure for doing things such as banking? It's a very important question that many, especially older ones, have nowadays, that we didn't have this option in the past. And I'll tell you, the short of it is, yes, it is relatively safe, even for someone who's inexperienced in using a computer to use. In fact, I highly encourage ones getting used to this, because think of it like this. You know, if I was to ask you, is it safe to go into a brick and mortar bank, you know, a bank building there in your town, is it safe to go there and bank locally at that bank? Well, you'd no doubt say, yeah, of course, I do it all the time. There are risks involved, though. You could get mugged as you go up to the bank. Someone could be robbing the bank. There's all sorts of things that could happen. And it's the same with internet. I don't mean to scare you away, but you should know that there are risks inherent with using banking online, just like there are when you go up to a bank. Now, you may be thinking, well, I know what can happen there, but I don't know what can happen on the internet. To be honest, the fact that you have a bank account at any given bank, the risks are mostly there whether you make use of the digital side of it or not, because it's all accessible online. Everybody has their accounts to be able to be accessed online, so whether or not you use that or not does not increase the security risk that much. So you may as well enjoy the benefits of it if the risks are already out there, is kind of my point. But how do you know that you're being more secure when browsing the internet? Well, I'm going to go into a little detail on that, and that comes into this part of the internet browser up here. Now, In the far left-hand corner here, we see this little lock symbol, and that's important to know what that means. This is a security feature that you want to look for if you're on a bank's website. So what that lock symbol symbolizes is that this is an encrypted website. Um, if I was to go to, I'm trying to think of where I could go where it's not encrypted. What would be a low risk website? Pretty much all websites nowadays use this here. Let's see, let's try to go to, okay. So it took me a little bit now to find a website that was not secured. This is becoming a very common thing with websites, thankfully. And so myflorida.com is one that is apparently not a secured website. Now, what does that mean, not secure? That means it's not encrypted. Um, so it's important to understand that doesn't mean that you're in danger just because you're at a website that's not encrypted. It's like talking on the telephone. If you're talking to a friend, it's not encrypted. People, what that means is people could listen in. So the telephone company could listen in, somebody that taps into your phone line could listen in. That is the same with your internet browser. Somebody could, at the internet service provider's location, or somebody that's tapping into data flowing across the internet that can intercede that, they could find out basically anything you send to this website or that this website sends to you. So right now, I'm not in danger just by going to this website because I am simply not sending it any information that I am worried about people knowing. If I was to type in or if I was to click on one of these contact us, somebody could see that I'm looking at myflorida.com. They don't know who I am. They just know this person on the internet's looking at myflorida.com, and they're getting this information from here. So they could read everything that you can read, and anything I send them, they would be able to intercede. But it's really not a risk when it's not secure data. It's not like they can see anything on your computer. But that does become a problem if you're going onto a bank's website, for instance. So bankofamerica.com is just our example that I'm sticking to here. When I go there, if you notice up here at the top, you have the little lock icon, different from this one here that says not secure. So what does encryption mean? You may think of it like in one of the world wars or any war situation. They would have people that were doing encryption of radio transmissions, right? So they would come up with a cipher that allows only the person that has that cipher or that manual that explains what each piece of the code means and how to decipher that information. They're the only ones who can know what's being said. So I'll come up with a basic example here. I'm going to bring up a notepad over here. And let's create our own little cipher so you can kind of understand this. So let's say I wanted to create a cipher, and this is going to be super basic, by the way. The number 1 is going to equal, let's put an equal sign there, the letter H. The letter 2, or the number 2, symbolizes the letter E. The number 3 is L, and the number 4 is O. You may be seeing where I'm going with this. So let's say then this is the cipher that I've created, okay? Somebody has this on a piece of paper, and I send them a code, and my code is 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. Now anybody without this cipher would be like, what? That doesn't mean anything, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. But if I was to decipher this, it would turn into 1 is equal to H, 2 is equal to E, 3 is equal to L. That's done twice, and then 4 is O. So they would know that this means hello. Okay, so that's a very simplified version of what's happening when you're on an encrypted website. Everything you send has to be deciphered on the other end and on the way back to you as well. And it's a very secure method of keeping people from listening in. So when you put in your username and password here, they don't have that information. Whenever you receive how much money is in your bank account, they don't have that information. So this is part of what keeps this a secure method of transmitting your bank information across the internet. Always look for that little lock icon. Lock icon's there, you're safe. Lock icon's not there, you need to check where you're going and not continue until you find out where your correct website is that you need to be going to. Another thing when it comes to security is doing Google searches. So again, let's go back to this example of not knowing the website address for your bank. If I didn't know that it was bankofamerica.com, because sometimes it could be slightly different than just something as basic as that, I can search for Bank of America because I don't know the website address. And the first one that comes up here is bankofamerica.com. What I'm trying to bring out here is Google has a very vested interest in making sure that the stuff that they present on your searches is not somebody trying to mislead you into going to some fake hacker website that would somehow get your banking information. Now, is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect that's made by man. But when you click on this website, you can have relative security that if it came up in a Google search on the first page, you're not down into, I wouldn't suggest going down here at the bottom if you didn't know. You can go down to like the 10th page of results, and even down here, you're probably going to be okay, but you might have some sort of weirdo trying to call, he could make a website out here and call it Bank of America's with an S on the end to try to get people to come to his website instead of the true bank's website. For the most part, though, Google does a really good job of making sure that they don't present those kind of websites. If anything's ever flagged as a spam website or something bad that they don't want people to go to, they won't list it anywhere on their search pages, not even down in the very end. So you can go with relative confidence that a search is going to bring you up the proper web page. A thing that you can do, though, to make sure that it's the right web page is make sure there's nothing funky in the name. Like if this said Bank of America and then it was like -A, that sounds a little weird. Like that wouldn't be probably what a big bank like Bank of America would do with their naming convention. So those little things can help you feel more secure when you read it out and you make sure each letter is there for bankofamerica.com. You can feel very confident. And then when you click on it, you've got that secure icon and you know other people can't be listening in. That's all important information to take in. So that will help you to be safe in searching for things online. Please leave comments, questions that you might have for internet browsing or anything PC related. I don't really cover Mac, Apple OS because I don't own a lot of devices and that are Apple devices. But anything PC related that you're interested in, let me know in the comments below. I'll try to help you out. So this has been Kevin Lowry giving you tips on how to work on your computer from a basic browsing perspective. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.